Hi, I'm Milan, and this is how I learned to create games. Well, I'm from Kerala, but I most of my studies was done in Kuwait. I moved to Kerala for my higher studies, my 11th, 12th, and my college. My game dev journey officially started when I was in college, and I got kind of curious. I started realizing, oh wait, pretty soon I have to start doing something with my life, and what better to do than the one thing that I was always passionate growing up. So I quickly got into game dev, made a couple of demos here and there, but none of it was really sticking. I kind of felt lost a lot of places, and then COVID struck. Finally had enough time on my hands to, finally, I can't be lazy anymore. Don't really have anything else going on. That's when I stumbled onto Outscal, specifically Mike. Chat with him. He was offering like a sample session at the time. Attended that. I don't know, really opened my eyes into how big this world actually is. Right, this isn't just like playing a game anymore. Right? There's a lot more nuance. And yeah, with his guidance, I was able to get my first job, doing well there now, and that's it so far. I guess like most people, I did start out with Mario, all the classic games, right? Then eventually, I think everyone hits that point where they first start where they play GTA and they're like, oh damn, didn't expect that. But it really struck a chord with me when I started getting into like RPGs like Skyrim. I mean, not because of how technically impressive the games are, it's just of how unstructured yet it has a structure. Okay. I don't know how to describe it exactly. At that point, not being familiar at game dev at all, but something about the fact that most of these things are scripted always occurred to me in some definition or form, right? And I think Skyrim was one of those games that I played that really opened my eyes to, oh wait, I really can, uh, like go about this in so many different ways. And I think that struck a chord. And that actually led to my foray into game dev as well, because Skyrim offered so many modding capabilities at the time, which, I first got into that scene through Skyrim. So always has a special place in my heart for that game. The community and everything about it, and just seeing how me with no programming expertise at all, I'm able to take pieces that I like, that other really talented people made available for use right in the internet, piecing them all together. Some things don't work well together as well. Like figuring all that out. It was a very fun process aside from playing the game. So now where I am at, I owe a lot of it to that game specific. But yeah, grew up with a lot of other pretty cool games as well. Vice City, House of the Dead, Bully, aside from Skyrim, what else? Dark Souls 1 really offered something truly unique at that point, something that I wasn't used to. But yeah, I guess those would be the frontliners. I mean, at that time. Now there's a lot more games going on, but yeah, those are the games that always stood out to me. First of all, I did my college studies all in Kerala. It was a government college called IHI, and during that time, I kind of knew what the game dev scene was. I had slowly dipped my toe into it a little bit here and there, but I was never really serious, at least not as serious as I needed to be. That came post, like during that COVID time where I started to think about my future a lot. And even then, game development was kind of on the backlog of options that I had available at the moment. And but no, no matter what option that I tried, I really, in the end, like thinking of everything that I really want to do and the kind of environment that I want to be in, right? Kind of led me back to game dev. And that idea was solidified when I stumbled onto Outscale's page on LinkedIn. And again, the talk I was talking about, that mind game. Yeah, that really solidified that idea, made game dev like a more valid option. And that's when I started. But the actual talk didn't happen during COVID. It happened like much before that. And then when COVID struck, that was like the perfect time for me to get it. at the time I didn't really have a lot of time on my hands to like pursue this on the side and really make like both of it. Like I always kind of assumed, okay, maybe post college or maybe like somewhere down the line I could maybe look into game dev, but probably not at the moment. But yeah, all that amount of free time on my hands just really gave me the push that I was looking for. Looking back at it now, I think it was just an excuse. I think you can pursue something on the side, something as a hobby, putting in a little bit of effort here and there. That's all it really takes. And having like a solid understanding, uh, with both of these things, you can easily land a job. Doing pretty much anything, not even game dev. With my parents, I don't know, they always kind of respected any choice that I had to take. I think, I mean, like, I was lucky in the fact that, they were able to realize, regardless of what I ended up choosing, if it being my choice and it being something that I'm passionate about is the only way I can get anywhere far in that field or in that segment, whatever, like regardless of like job or any most lifestyle decisions that I take as well, they've always to some degree learned to respect. With my friends, it was like a better story, I guess. I had a lot of friends who weren't really into gaming, were into gaming, and they were into other stuff as well. But unanimously, all of them, like when I showed them the first game that I made, right? Aside from talking about it, that made it real. It made it real to me, and it made it real to them as well. And as a result, two of them like pursued game dev post that, because they, I think like seeing that I was able to make something, and I was infamous for being pretty lazy in our group. So, oh wait, if this fucker can do it, I can do it, right? I guess that was the mentality. But like me getting to play the games that they made as well, like having that small community within where I'm based from as well, was pretty nice. And yeah, a couple of them are working as game devs today. This is the first time I made a game where I actually knew what I was doing. Right, I wasn't stumbling out of things. So, from making a couple of games, I really understood where my limitations really are, where most of my time sink is going to be. But I really wanted to make a game that that was able to capture my essence as a game dev, right? What I like to see in the games that I find fun, or like in the future, right? Like I'm ever gonna put out if this game, this thing that I'm working on right now, regardless of it being like a vertical slice or a demo, if this needs to reflect what I'm about, right? So working to my limitations, which are mostly on the art side, and what can I make that it's pretty hard to fuck up, right? So I came with this idea for like a free flow, like car drifting game, which I got inspired by this game called Paco. I don't know if you've heard of it. I really liked how the car handled. It wasn't realistic; it was very arcadey, but I wanted to recapture that. So, using that as an example, I started working on this game. Added a lot of gimmicky mechanics here and there, but with a lot of flair. It was mostly about flair than like any solid mechanic. But yeah, something about that really spoke to me as well during the development like period. When I was able to share it with my games, there's a lot of it that they kind of connected with as well, because we all kind of are like kind of similar in the games that we like to play and that we talk about, right? So I put a lot of those elements in there, which they were able to also notice, which honestly was more important to me than anything else. I don't know why. Just having that conversation post you sharing that with them, right? That is also part of that journey. Like what really motivates you to do something, because obviously it's not going to turn out to be that good. But just seeing how you can talk to other people, then giving valid feedbacks, and at the same time they're coming from a place where they see what you try to do there, right? I opened up LinkedIn, didn't even know how the site worked. I think the first couple of things you have to do is, what are your interests? Like follow a couple of pages, right? I think I clicked I did the right amount of clicks, and boom, there you go. One of the first few pages it ever recommended was Outscal. First call with Mike. Wasn't really a call. There were a couple of other students in the call as well. This was our first this is the first session of like a 2D thing that Mike was doing intro to game dev, right? Started with the 2D project. But the first ever class Mike took, it wasn't about really the specifics of how you would go about making a game. It was rather the why and the who's. Yeah, like who exactly are part of that game dev cycle, right? Because we throw the word game dev pretty loosely, but what really constitutes it, what are the moving parts in this big chain, right? We went over all that, and yeah, just the way and the structure of how that talk went, uh, kind of made me realize, oh wait, like I started seeing the value of something there, is because I wasn't really trained to think that way. Even going into it, my expectation of how that session would turn out was completely different than how it did, and I'm so glad I was wrong as well. And I gained a lot of interesting insights into how the industry as a whole functions before I got into actually making that first game, which is essential because mine's approach was more to do with design principles and really questioning yourself and every single action you take, right? Rather than, oh, this is the correct way to do it, everything else bad, right? That wasn't it. It was more of, right, uh, have a feel for it, but really don't forget to question yourself, voila, kind of thing. That being said, design principles were also like one of the things that I had a lot of trouble trying to understand. I think most of it had to do with the fact that my brain was just wired to do things like most people are, right? Like I wasn't special in this regard, but yeah, a lot of unlearning had to be done before I could, learn how to properly approach, like how to properly orient my principles, right? Like design principles, how to structure my code, how to plan that far ahead, right? Because I kind of saw well, I mean, this is app for both, I think. I kind of saw it like, oh, I'm playing with Legos here. This part goes here, that part goes there. Why? Because, oh, I want this part there. I want this part there. But there's a lot more that goes into building a building, giving it structural integrity, right? Making it scalable. Yeah, that was a part I had uh, that I had to put a lot of time into, which I still do to this day. But really, once you really start getting the hang of it, it really changes the whole game. Yeah, that entire process starts looking at different. You start asking different kinds of questions, right? The kind of questions I had initially to what I have now has more to do with the fact that, oh, I kind of see what I'm doing wrong here, right? What I can do to make these things more scalable versus, wait, how do I do this? How do I do that? Not why do I want to do this, but yeah, that's it. That was a difference. Outscale had this interview prep program towards the end of after all of the modules were done, and that mostly had to do with training you to get into the mindset of someone who's looking for a job and giving you the specifics of what companies out there are looking for, like demystifying a lot of things that you really have no idea, whether you come from a non-game dev background or whether you're approaching this purely blindly, which I did, because I was just at the end of my college. The first foray I had was when I wanted to work as an intern in this one studio. And really, the set of skills that Outscale equipped me with, me regularly posting on LinkedIn, highlighting essential stuff on my CV, and basically handling an interview head on. Those were the skills that really helped me land that internship there and then ultimately a job at the company that I'm currently working at today. I work as a VR game developer at AiSolve here in Bangalore. We deal with medical simulations so that it's easier for students and professionals working in the industry to learn and capture real-time data on how good their responsiveness is when dealt with real-life scenarios. Well, to start off with, game dev is just like any other software engineering jobs out there, guys. The workflow and the way you approach problems and how you deal with it in the manner that you do is very similar to how most software engineering companies operate. Where game dev differs and where it stands out, exactly like the idea that you're working on games, right? What's the first reaction that most people get? right? Trying to capture that and at the same time dealing with all the complexities that any other software engineering company does, right? And having them run parallel in the end to create a product that people can enjoy, right? It's so much more difficult than like you first look at it, like your first perception of it. You going out there being in a very creative environment. You are in a very creative environment. It's just you have to learn to juggle some of that with you know the complexities attached to actually getting a product out there, and not just getting it out there, it being as fun and good and deliverable as you initially expected it, right? It's a nuanced dance. It's a balance of so many things, and creativity just doesn't start and end at the game aspect of it. There's a lot of other creativity that goes into the actual development cycle of it as well, which is pretty interesting. There's a lot of things that really stands out for game dev as a career or as a process that's very translatable to other industries as well, similar fashion. Um, the question of whether you're going to get paid or not, if you look up game dev industry, it's a $1 billion industry, and it's one of the most profitable industries out there as well. If you have the skills and the dedication and willpower to you know get through, I mean, put yourself through that process. Not putting yourself through, but getting through that process, right? If you can do that, there is a job for you, and you will get paid. That's never a question. If I had the chance to, go back in time and talk to my previous self, I mean, like my past self, one piece of advice I would give is to not maybe worry too much, because most of the things I worried that I would fail at, or I was scared of going wrong, right? Did end up going wrong. But that was okay. That was fine. I guess that's what you don't think of at the moment. It's just, oh, like one wrong move and you're done. No, it's not how it works. It's not going to be all glamorous either. But along the way, you learn to understand doing something you're very passionate about and facing failure and versus facing failure anywhere else, right? Both are completely different. The way this changes you, the takeaways that you usually have at every step of the way, completely different, right? So quit worrying, right? Make some games.